Today we're diving into one of the heaviest, stickiest, and most universal forms of guilt that I've ever encountered: mom guilt. Whether you're a new mom, a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, a stepmom, or even someone that has a complicated relationship with motherhood, this one's for you. If you're sitting here wondering what mom guilt is, let me tell you. Mom guilt is that constant little voice whispering, "You should be doing more. You're not doing enough. You're doing it wrong." It's the guilt when you go back to work, the guilt when you don't, the guilt when you feed your kid McDonald's 3 days in a row, or when you don't let them have their favorite sprinkle cookie. It's exhausting. It's relentless. And for a lot of us, it's invisible. I'll start with my own personal story of mom guilt. In the beginning, I struggle with mom guilt every day. I question absolutely everything, every choice, and every instinct, even if I was meant to be a mom in the first place. And just to make things extra complicated, I didn't just become a mom to one child. I stepped into a blended family, 2 stepchildren, and later my biological daughter. But let me be clear, they're all mine. My stepkids, my biological child, they're all mine. I do not discriminate. I met my stepkids when they were in kindergarten and first grade, and I used to joke that I came in at the perfect time. No diapers, no colic, no sleepless newborn nights, smooth sailing, right? Absolutely wrong. What I didn't expect was the guilt. So much guilt. Guilty that I wasn't there from the beginning. I was living, breathing proof that their parents weren't getting back together. Guilt that these small, soft-hearted humans had to learn how to let someone new into their lives. Someone who wasn't their mom, but loved them like it anyway. Then, just when I thought I was figuring it out, we had a baby of our own. Cue the chaos. I was pregnant right in the middle of COVID. No village, no cute baby shower with ridiculous diaper games surrounded by those you love. We did have a virtual one, but it's just not the same. No meal trains, no surprise visits with pick-me-ups. Just the four of us, across the country from my family, nauseous 24/7, and barely able to function, let alone take care of my family and my children. My husband was only allowed at one OB appointment, and that was the one where we found out the gender. I couldn't work. I couldn't care for the kids like I wanted to. The guilt piled up like laundry, which I also couldn't do. And then, when she arrived, I had a reaction to the anesthesia. Bonding didn't come right away. They tell you that skin to skin is essential. They hammer that into your head like it's a sacred ritual. And there I was, barely able to function, wondering if this meant that I had already failed as a mom. Then we went home. That's where it got real quiet. Now I was behind closed doors, tired, raw, and scared to say what I was really thinking out loud, even to myself. The nights felt endless, and that's when the thoughts were the loudest. I didn't know it yet, but I had severe postpartum depression and anxiety. No one else knew it either, until I finally told my husband through tears that I didn't want to be alive. Yeah, it got that dark. No one prepares you for that part of motherhood. You hear about the snuggles and the milestones and matching pajamas, not the shame, not the fear, not the silence. Is motherhood wonderful and beautiful and magical? Absolutely yes. Would I change any of it? No. Is it also the hardest thing I've ever done in my life? You bet. But that's why we show up, right? We keep going every single day. We try. Because these little people, they need us just as much as we need them. They don't need the perfect us, just us. Guilt, flaws, and all. I could sit here and feel bad about all the thoughts that I had, all the questions I never asked, the things I never said. But the truth is, No one has all the answers. That's the thing about guilt. It tells you that you're feeling when actually you're just feeling. I'm a good mom. I'm a strong mom. And sometimes I just need a reminder. Up next, you're going to hear from another mom who is juggling multiple things throughout her time as a mom. She has 3 kids, 3 businesses, and she can be an inspiration to all of us. So without further ado, please listen. All right, here we go. So I'm Allie. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Absolutely. My name is Sally Bisbee. I am a business owner times 3. So I have been an entrepreneur for the last 11 years. 11 years ago, I started a craft business, a custom craft business. So I make shirts, cups, signs, anything you can add words to. Something I started as a little side hobby and have grown into a pretty successful business, which is a lot of fun. For the last 8 years, I ran an in-home daycare and was able to stay home with my younger 2. I am a mom of 3. I have 3 kids. They're 22, 9, and 6. And so when my 9-year-old was born, I quit corporate to stay home to do daycare. And the plan was always when my youngest went off to kindergarten, which happened this last fall, that I would quit daycare and move on with life. So this past fall, I started my 2 new businesses, one being a professional organizer, so going into people's homes and helping them organize and just taking that off their plate. And then I also started my coaching business where I just help moms navigate the stresses of motherhood, really help moms simplify life. And I just tell people I help moms declutter life, both physically and mentally, and then really remember who they are again outside of being a mom. I think so oftentimes we just lose ourselves in being moms and we forget that we have our own needs and wants and dreams and desires. And I just love being able to walk alongside moms and help them. So that's a little bit about me and what I do.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. It sounds like you're very busy.
A little bit, but I love it.
Good, good. All right. So first, can you tell me what you imagine motherhood would be like? And then maybe tell me the most surprising thing that was the most surprising thing once you were actually in it.
Sure. Um, I'll add this to add a little bit more to my story, just to give you a little more with having 3 kids. So my oldest is 22, so I had her when I was 22 and a senior in college. Very unplanned. The best thing to ever happen to me, but I was a single mom at that point, and so I was a single mom for 11 years. I met my now husband when my daughter was 8, and we got married when she was 11. And so I have the unique experience as a mom of being a single mom, of being a married mom, of having 1, 2, 3 kids. I've worked from home, I've worked for corporate, I've worked for myself, all those things. And so I just think back to I've had quite a journey as a mother. And when I first became a mom, obviously that wasn't how I planned it or what I planned life would be being a single mom. But I made the best of it. I adapted. I have an amazing family and support system, and it was really great. I honestly think that life got harder as I added more kids. And so I always tell people, like, I love my kids. Like, my whole life dream and goal was to be a mom. But by the time I had my third, had switched things up a little bit. And so thinking, to answer your question about what did I think mom life was going to be like, I think, I always talk to moms about the fact, like, there's going to be like sleepless nights, there's going to be sick kids, there's going to be like hard parts. But I think for me, I never realized how much I would lose myself in motherhood and like not even know who I was anymore. And so, that didn't happen as much for me when I was young and single, because I only had 1 kid and I was still like out hanging out with all my friends and all that stuff, because they didn't have kids yet. So it wasn't quite the same as now, where most of my friends are married and have kids, and it's harder to make plans to get together and you can't do things spur of the moment anymore. And so I think, the biggest surprise for me was definitely how much you lose yourself in being a mom, which is really where, my passion for starting this coaching business started, through my journey of that and just realizing that, being a mom is amazing, but it is only part of who I am and wanting to remember who I am and then help other moms, do the same thing. So that would be that one.
Absolutely. Thank you. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people can relate to that, myself especially.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes you just don't know like where you are. And I feel like my youngest is now 4. So
Okay.
I feel like now I'm starting to be like, oh, I can actually like go to my friends for a girls' day at the pool or, you know, start to be me again, hopefully.
Yes. Yes. That's what I always tell people. Somebody said to me once, when your kid hits 5, there's just a new level of, it doesn't necessarily get easier, it gets different, but there's like a new level of, you're not wrapped up in like the little kid years that are all consuming, that the baby needs you all the time. And there's like this breath of like, okay, I can leave for a couple hours and it's fine. I can start to think about like, who am I again aside from this mom that these kids need so much. I mean, my kids still need me. My 22-year-old still needs me. Like that doesn't ever go away, but there's like a breath of fresh air when you start to get a little more of that like freedom that you can step away a little bit easier.
Right, right. So this episode um, is going to kind of focus a little bit on mom guilt and all that comes with that. Um, I'm not sure if it's the same for you, but for me, guilt was one of the things I knew I would have. However, I didn't realize how many ways and how much and how often it would come. So, did you have any experience with mom guilt?
Yes. So much, so much. You know, I look back to like when I was a single mom and it was just my daughter and I had 100% custody of her. Long story, all good, but it was just her and I. And I would tell people like I would get a headache if she wasn't with me because it felt so unnormal for her just not to be with me all the time. It was just a given that she came to Target and she came to the grocery store and she came everywhere. And I also was a nanny for the first 7 years of her life and brought her with me. And so there still was those times though that like even if I took time for myself, it was just that feeling of like, oh, but I'm a mom. I should be with my kid. I should be with my kid. And I think, even now more so looking at my 2 younger kids, I always tell people like it was never my dream to grow up and be a daycare lady, but I chose to do daycare for 8 years so I could be home and raise my kids while still making an income. And yet somehow I still felt guilty if I went out at night and did something. And I was like, wait a minute, like I've rearranged my whole life, my career, everything based around these kids. I give them everything. They have an amazing life. And somehow I still feel guilty when I take time for myself. So it was a lot of, I've done a lot of self work and a lot of, what I help my coaching clients with now is really just talking about like, why is there that guilt? Like for me, my husband is amazing. He doesn't ever make me feel guilty. He has a whole life outside of us. He is an avid outdoorsman. He fishes, he hunts, he's gone a lot. And I always tell, my girlfriends when I talk to him or coaching clients, and I say, you know what? Do you think that he feels guilty for 1 second when he goes fishing or hunting? Not for 1 second, because it's what he loves to do. It's his happy. It re-energizes him and he's fully allowed to. And doesn't bother me that he does it. And so that has been a really big reframe to me of like, why do I as a mom feel guilty if I take time away from the kids? But my husband doesn't feel guilty for 1 second. And so I've started to learn through, a lot of just self-reflection and really doing the inner work that really this coaching experience has brought me to is, you know, my kids benefit greatly when I take that time away from them. When I step away and take care of myself, I show up as a better mom, as a better wife, all those things. And so really just learning that, you know, guilt is a part of mom life, but I think it's something we need to let go of. And I think we put it on ourselves a lot. And you know my kids, are always just fine when I get back after being gone and they've survived. And I need to like remind myself, like, I can take time for myself and, the world still goes on and all is good.
Right. So obviously the guilt that we feel as moms is internal, but also do you think maybe there's some sort of like societal pressure or anything like that that would also affect it?
100%, 100%. And, the societal pressure, just looking at social media now and you look at people's lives that, everybody has this perfect life on social media and they have it all together. Why don't I have it? Why can't I have a clean house and well-behaved kids and take time for myself without feeling guilty? And, I running 3 businesses, I'm on social media more than I'd like to be. I'd love to not be on it at all, but I am. And so I've learned to try to really just kind of tune that out. And I always tell people, like, you have to do what works for you and your family. Um, Another big thing with that, with just, the societal pressure is, I don't know, maybe tied in, but I was raised by a stay-at-home mom who is amazing. My parents are wonderful, been married for 48 years, like great upbringing. But I was raised by a mom who did it all. My dad was a business owner, he worked long hours, all those things. And so the way that I saw to grow up was that the mom cooks and cleans and raises the kids and does all the sports and all the things. And now we live in this world where both my husband and I work. We have kids, we have a house, all that stuff. And so it took some reprogramming of my mindset and a lot of communication with my husband, something we've worked on really hard over the last few years, of, this is our house and this is our family. And, you know, we need to figure out a way to divvy stuff up a little more equally and not have everything fall on me. Really just ask for help and stop trying to do it all. I always say, there's no award for doing it all. There no nobody gives you an award for being super mom. Like, I'm like, why am I trying to do it all and not taking time for myself? My husband takes time for himself with no second thought. I need to do more of this. So it's taken me a long time to get there, but I have very little mom guilt these days, which is nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to maybe when you were in the thick of it and really feeling that guilt, was there ever a time where that guilt maybe made you feel like, am I a good mom? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I doing this right?
Yeah. Um, I always tell people my kind of big aha moment was when my kids were 17, 5, and 2. I was in the thick of like teenage drama years. My oldest is a girl, so we had lots of drama and emotions. And then my younger two were, toddler preschool age and just getting to that age where they were starting to annoy each other and all that stuff. And I just remember waking up every day, like feeling so overwhelmed, so like behind already for the day before the day had even started, and just waking up and being like, something has to give. Like, these kids are in my house for another, 16 years at least, probably longer. And I knew something had to give. And that was really the start of my journey of making the change and realizing that, like, my needs do matter. And the only way I'm going to survive for the next 16, 18, 20 years is if I figure out how to make my needs matter and communicate that with my husband to get him on board of, you know, not making everything fall on me. I think there is that guilt of feeling like you feel like a little bit of a failure if you can't do it all on your own. But I don't think there's any way you can do it all on your own. Keep up your whole house, raise your kids, do all the things, take care of yourself, find time for yourself. Like, it is a pretty hard thing to do. And so that was my big, aha moment of like, I got to get my husband more involved. He's very willing to. He needs to be, asked and let known what I would need help with and what I'd like from him. So that was a big turning point for us for sure.
Right. Sometimes I'm the same way. I feel like, no, I got this. I'll just do it. It's just easier. And my husband always says, I don't know you need help because you hide it so well. So if you don't tell me, I just think you're fine and you're doing it because you're doing it. And once he told me that, I was like, oh, well, here I am silently being like, oh gosh, why do I have to do this? You know, he could just do this too. But over there, he's like, oh, she's doing it. Cool.
Yep. Yep.
And he had no
So
idea that I was feeling that way. So
so much.
I
That's
think it's very
what I always
important to
tell
be
people.
communicative.
You can either, sit and wish that they were helping, or you can ask and hopefully they'll help. If you ask and then they don't help, then that's a whole nother issue that you got to deal with. But a lot of times they just need to be like, here's what I could really use is if you could do X, Y, Z. And they're like, okay, great. I can do that. I mean, would it be great if they just did it without being asked? Yes, but it's just not how they're wired. So just sometimes accepting that
Very
and
true.
moving forward, it helps.
We can go back to social media. Do you think
Sure.
it's good, bad, or kind of a little bit of both in regards to like mom guilt?
I mean, I'd say a little bit of both, right? I think there's things you can learn. I think that there's good stuff out there if you follow the right people and you take in the right information. I think there's, people out there like me and plenty of other people trying to help moms figure out how to lighten the load, how to um, you know, for me it's always taking back control of your life. Like I said in the beginning, getting so lost in motherhood. Like I love being a mom, but I also was like, I can't put my own needs on the back burner for 18 years. Like I know that I'm worth more than that and care about myself enough to do that. Obviously there's a lot of seeing stuff on social media that, you know, makes us feel bad and makes us be like, oh, why don't I have it together? Why don't I have a, Pinterest perfect pantry or, all this thing. With being a professional organizer, going into people's homes and stuff, one of the biggest uh roadblocks to that is a lot of people are so embarrassed to even have me come into their house because they're like, I can't believe my house got like this. I'm like, I get it, but also like I'm not here to judge. I'm here to just help and helping people get excuse me, helping people get back to that baseline of like, okay, like it doesn't have to be Pinterest perfect. I always tell people like if you have bins in your house already, we can mismatch bins and get stuff in there. I'm like, sometimes you just as a mom just need that boost, that help to just get back to um a good spot, which is, one of my favorite parts of doing both organizing and coaching is just coming alongside moms and helping them. And I think, we need to remember when we're on social media that what you see is 3 seconds of somebody's life. And, anybody can, video a perfectly picked up kitchen, but maybe, inside they're falling apart or, whatever it is. On the flip side, I think there's also that thing, I always tell people, I don't have a perfectly put together life, but through these years of coaching and doing my stuff, I figured out a lot of things of how to have a life that really runs smoothly and have a life like our house is always cleaned up and organized. I've always been that way. I was raised that way. It just is like naturally in my blood. So our house is always that way. But one of the big things that I do with coaching, my signature method that I walk people through is called the Simplify method. And it's really about how do you, as a mom, like simplify your life? How do you get rid of anything unnecessary out of your life, whether it be physical stuff or like just mental clutter, over scheduling ourselves, all those things. And really, how do you make life simpler to run smoother so that you can deal with all the stuff of mom life, right? We know we're going to have sick kids. We know we're going to have, um, sports and stuff that we have to run to and a busy schedule. And so my goal with moms is always just making life as smooth and simple as possible so you can deal with all those extras to be able to, not go crazy, that whole part, but also have time for yourself too. That's a big aspect of mine. I always tell people like I have 3 kids, I run 3 businesses, and I have time for myself every single day. It's something I've made important to myself. I, get out and take a mile walk every single day. I, go out with friends at least once a week. just those things that I've chosen as a priority in my life. Um, and so it's fun being able to help other moms see that it's possible for everybody. It's just you got to want it bad enough to make it happen.
Right. And I think once we get past that, oh gosh, I'm leaving my kids, I'm doing this for myself, and that guilt, really when you're doing something you enjoy or spending time with yourself doing whatever, it makes you better. I know for me, when I'm just absolutely over everything and I'm like, how can I possibly even go to across the street to the neighbor's pool for an hour? And my husband's like, please just go. Like, we got it. We're good. We're all, it's not, the house isn't going to burn down. When I get
Yeah,
back, it's like I'm a whole new person. But you forget
100%.
that in the moment.
For sure. For sure. And I think that is the best thing because that's me too. Like every time I go, again, even if I just go shopping for an hour by myself just to get out and breathe with nobody needing you for a little bit. Like that's my thing. I'm like, so great to feel needed. I'm glad these kids love me so much that they need me all the time. But I'm like, sometimes we just need to remember that, I always tell people like I'm Sally. I'm something outside of being a mom and I love being a mom, but it isn't everything of who I am. It's a big part of me, but it's not everything. So I think that remembering that and getting that recharge is so crucial as moms and really to show up as the best version we can, which I think is incredibly important to be a good mom, right? Is giving the kids the best version of us that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in regards to your coaching business, where can people find you? Do you want to explain just a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is simplysallyco.com. It has all three of my businesses on there. I am on Facebook and Instagram. All three of my businesses are Simply Sally. So it's Simply Sally Coaching, Simply Sally Organizing, and Simply Sally Creations. Um, and for my coaching, I offer a few different things. So I have a 6-week virtual, it's all done virtually, all through Zoom, a 6-week coaching program called Mom Life Simplified, where I just really walk moms through my Simplify method. We meet over Zoom, we talk through things and really cater it directly to each mom and what she's going through at that time. And I get to just come alongside and help really just simplify life, clear the clutter, figure out. I'm big on creating systems and routines that work in mom's life to just make life run smoother. I also have a 30-day thing called the Simplify Voxer Experience. Voxer, if you're not aware, maybe you are, but for other people who aren't, Voxer is just a voice messaging app. And so one of the big things with moms that we know is moms are busy and sometimes making time for an hour coaching call a week is tricky. And so I set up this Voxer experience where we can just communicate all through this voice messaging app. And really, it's just daily accountability that I can check in with moms and say, what's going on today? What are you working on? What do you want to, accomplish today? And just be able to check in back and forth and um, really just help make some of those changes that sometimes, one of my favorite coaching clients, one of the favorite things she said to me was, you just gave me permission. You gave me the permission I needed to like take care of myself and make these changes. And I think as moms, sometimes we need that, right? Somebody to come alongside us and be like, you're doing an awesome job, but how can we make it better? How can we make it easier for you so life isn't so stressful so that you can really enjoy these kids and not feel overwhelmed and take time for yourself? So that Voxer experience is a great thing. And then I have a whole bunch of free resources too on my website just for moms, my little morning and evening reset. I have an awesome checklist of 5 things I do every night and every morning to just keep my house running smoothly. Another one called the Ultimate Time Saving Checklist, just different time saving hacks for moms to do, which is always great because the biggest thing I always hear is there's never enough time to do everything. So, yeah, that's a little bit more about me and where to find me.
Perfect. I don't think I have any more questions. We pretty much covered all of them.
Sure.
Is there anything you want to share or anything maybe we didn't speak about that you would like to mention?
I don't know. I guess I would just leave this for any moms listening would be, just remember that you're worth it, that these kids are your world and being a mom is amazing, but the way to show up as the best mom is to take care of yourself and to remember that your needs do matter, and that we show up as a better mom when we show up for ourselves first. And I think it's just a good reminder to be told that it's okay to take care of yourself, and that it's actually beneficial for the kids and your husband and everybody around you when we do that, and that society might tell us to feel guilty about it, but there isn't any reason to feel guilty about it. It's actually a good thing.
Thank you. Please go check her out after listening to this. And if you feel like something resonated with you that she said, go check out her coaching business and see if maybe that will help you out. So let's get back to it. Let's talk about why this guilt is so common. A lot of it comes down to societal expectations, right? We already spoke about that, but we're told to be gentle but not firm, nurturing but not too indulgent. Be ambitious, go to work, but please don't be selfless. And all of this is being done while you're judged constantly online, real life, family, friends, yourself. Psychologists say mom guilt often stems from unrealistic standards, the beliefs about what a good mom looks like that we were brought to believe, that we saw growing up, and also the pressure to put your child's needs above everybody else's, including your own. But let's be clear. Guilt is not the same as failure. It's often a sign that you care deeply, maybe too deeply, about doing right by your kids. So how in the hell do we deal with this guilt? Sometimes we need to reality check ourselves. Where did I learn this version of a good mom, and is it even mine? The world has changed significantly over the years. No longer are the days where there's single parent working households. It's now a time where both parents have to work just to survive. The rest of the world has changed, but some of our views and beliefs of mothers have stayed the same. We cannot expect a mother to do it all while also working full time and trying to take care of herself. On the flip side, stay-at-home moms are judged to the highest degree, but that takes a lot of courage and strength because there is no break. That to me is one of the hardest jobs in the world, and you have to be made for that. I personally am not a woman who is built to stay at home, and I applaud all of you who do. Something that I recently found is talking to other moms because guilt thrives in isolation. Also, after I made all of this, I realized that I say guilt thrives in isolation a lot. So maybe I should give a prize out to someone who thinks, or someone who guesses the closest amount of how many times I'll say that. Anyway, back. I found that community does help. I used to love staying silent about my personal struggles because I'm the strong one. I didn't want people to believe that I was weak or I was not good at being a mom or even good at life in general. That's probably a whole other topic we could talk about, but we're not going to get into that right now. My eyes opened wide after I started confiding in other moms and asking the questions that I needed to know in order to keep my sanity. Lean on your people, just as you expect them to lean on you, because honestly, it's too hard to go through this alone. The next way we can deal with guilt would be modeling self-compassion. Now. Before you roll your eyes and turn this episode off, hear me out. What do you want your kids to learn about self-love? Take a second. Think about that. They learn by watching us. This, for me, oh gosh, I struggle with this on a daily basis. I am not the model I want them to be, and I know that. I am short-tempered, I'm angry, I talk badly about myself, and I know they hear it. But we can give our children all the compliments and reassurance in the world, but they have to believe how much they mean to us and how wonderful they are themselves. Just like we have to believe how wonderful we are when we're giving ourselves compliments and self-affirmations. And finally, probably the hardest thing, and the hardest thing to admit to, is getting professional help if you need it. Therapy can untangle this stuff, especially postpartum guilt or any guilt tied to trauma. I never thought that I needed therapy. I knew what triggered me, and I thought I knew how to cope with it, but it turns out I didn't. After a while, I finally found the right therapist, and yes, therapists can actually be wrong for you. I thought that I was a problem and that maybe I just wasn't built for therapy because I don't like talking about myself. I don't like to, again, show my emotion, think that I'm weak because I am the strong one. I'm the one you lean on. I don't need anybody. But I found out that therapy is a lot like dating, and if you don't mesh with them, you're not going to talk to them. I was told something not that long ago, and I always try to remember and remind myself, and maybe anybody else who is struggling, that just like my child, I'm experiencing so many things for the first time. Even though I have 3 children, they're all different, and so am I. I'm not the same person I was with that first child, that second child, or even the third child. Each stage, each moment is a first. It's a learning process every day, and not everything that worked for the child before is going to work for the next one. And sometimes not everything that you do for one child is going to work the next day even. It's constantly molding yourself to being open to learning and being open to change. And also realizing that you're allowed to have emotions. You're allowed to feel guilt. You're allowed to be human. You're allowed to even take rest. Yes, moms, we need to rest. We have to have self-care. Like earlier you heard, I thought I had to be by my children 24/7 because that was what a good mom was. I needed to be there every single time they needed me. But what I didn't realize was that's why I'm so angry and overwhelmed and overstimulated all the time, because I'm not giving myself a break. And honestly, even just getting away for an hour, when I come back, I'm recharged and I'm ready to go. And suddenly, the things that I couldn't handle 2 hours prior, I can handle with ease. Also, you are allowed to not love every second of motherhood. I said it. There can be times where you absolutely hate being a mother, and that is okay. It doesn't make you a bad mom. It makes you an honest one. Because at the end of the day, we still show up for them. We still love them with all our hearts, and that's why you're a good one. All right. Next week, we're talking about dad guilt. It's real, and it's a conversation that we all need to have. Thank you for being here, for being human, and for letting yourself feel. And just a reminder, this podcast is all heart, not healthcare. Please talk to a professional for medical advice. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Unfiltered Feels Podcast. Share this with someone who needs it, or leave a review. And don't forget, the things you're feeling, you're not alone. I'll see you next time.